Okay, we are now live streaming on YouTube. How's it going, everybody? My name is Jimmy. Our guest speaker is a little bit late, and we're just going to go ahead and get started because there are some people here that want to make things happen. For those of you who don't know my background, I've been in the music industry now for a little over 50 years and produced a lot of records and uh, done a whole lot of different things. Recently, one of my friends Googled me and found out that I have been on over 67 different projects, including a few gold and platinum records. And I didn't even know that they were gold and platinum until he told me that. I said, "Wow, you know." So it's kind of interesting. Uh, I've also been heavily involved in the Christian music industry. Started a label myself with some friends, and currently have a small label with some other friends as well in a publishing company. And because of the publishing company, I've got all three ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC under my belt, so we can make things happen no matter what PRO you're with. Uh, SongNet is something that I took over 25 years ago, or about 25 years ago, I should say, from my good friend Linda Galeris. And it's all about connecting the industry and the community. So that's what we've been doing. That's what I've been doing. And hopefully, whatever we do can help you out. Unfortunately, our guest speaker isn't here yet. We're going to go ahead and start off with Larry Rossive. And what we're going to do is we're going to listen to his stuff, make some comments. We'll open up to all you guys too. So everybody can make a comment or anything if you want. And
Yeah.
we'll just do that kind of like a song critique and
One of
also any
the
questions. So if you have any questions for me, from my side of the industry, what you might want to do, where you might want to go and all that other stuff, let me know. Um, because I know a little bit. After 50 years doing this, I better know, right?
I think one of the interesting comments too to make is because we represent different generations. One of the things when you go online and you upload your music, they always ask you, well, who do you sound like? And depending on sort of what generation you're in, you can get all kinds of answers. So one of the comments it's useful to make, I think, to people when they play a song like we're doing now is, who else do you sound like? Because that helps you fill in that gap, and you come out with things that you never would have thought of before. So anyway, the way we do this is I share my screen, and then we listen, and then we'll get to a certain point, and then kind of fade out and add some comments.
And Jeff
So,
just texted me,
yeah.
so keep watching. He should be showing up on the
Oh, he said
inbox.
he's coming.
He said, "Be right there."
Oh, really?
Wow.
Oh, maybe he thought it was 7:30. That's we had that happen once before. So we'll wait for him then.
All
I
right,
think that would probably be the prudent thing to do, and then everybody will get the same listen, so to speak.
cool.
So while we're waiting, I just wanted to remind stereo sound for Stephen.
Oh yeah,
It is on.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yeah. Let's see.
and there he is. Oh no, come on, Jeff.
I need a drum roll.
Yeah, really been a long drum roll. Well, if any of you guys have a question for me, you can also ask me too. Yeah, I've got all kinds
There
of
you
things
go.
going on.
Yeah, the Coolx thing is the hidden jewel of LA.
Yeah, the Kulaks thing is very, very powerful, and
Yeah,
a lot of great artists. One time I was in there, there's also a green room in the back, and we were hanging out in the green room, and there's this song called Brandy. I don't know if you've heard of that song. From a band called Looking Glass. It's one of those things that's played a lot, and so we were sitting out there, and then all of a sudden we heard this guy singing it, and we go, "Wow, that sounds just like the guy from the record." And we looked outside. It is the guy from the record.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's funny. There's this gig I did a long time ago, probably 20 years ago, when it's like this flamenco guitar trail thing. And we were opening for a couple of acts for this big uh, corporate party at the San Juan Capistrano Mission. And so when I got there early for the sound check, I'm walking across this big courtyard, and there's this big stage set up with truss rods. And so I walked across the middle, and the manager guy of the company who like set up the whole thing, was right next to where I was walking. And so I hear this guy on the stage start playing, do, 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 Doctor, my eyes have seen the fears and a slow parade. And I thought, wow, that really sounds like Jackson Brown. I stop and turn around, and it is Jackson Brown.
Yeah.
And the manager guy stops me and he says, "You don't know who's playing here." Like, meaning, shut up, don't tell anyone that Jackson Brown here, because it was a company party and that was a surprise at the end of the party.
Wow.
So after our gig was done and they gave us food and stuff, I hung around, watched Jackson Brown play his solo set. He had a few guitars, a few keyboards. He just played all his hits, just solo.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I have a companion story.
Okay.
Okay,
involving
well,
the same
actually, we got
artist.
Jeff. Jeff is here now.
Jeffrey's
So
arrived,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll
let's go ahead and
hold
get
my
started
story.
here. So,
Okay.
hi, Jeff. Good to see you.
Right. Okay, thank you. Apologies. I'm in Toronto,
Oh,
and
Toronto. Yeah.
it's a little challenging with the internet in the hotel room. But anyway, glad to see everybody, and thank you for sticking with me for a few minutes.
Okay.
How late am I? Like 7 minutes?
No, we start at 7 o'clock.
Oh, for crying out loud! I'm really sorry about that.
That's okay. Larry has to leave early, so what we're gonna do is we're just going to go ahead and play his song. You can do some critiquing and stuff on that, and then we'll get into the rest of the thing about your, what you do and all that good stuff.
Please accept my apology, folks. It's
No problem.
been a long day. I'm here judging a talent contest, and we had 120 singers to go through.
Oh my
And,
God.
Each one of them gets a minute. These are the prelims, and what they have like a bell that you ring when you go to a hotel and you can't find them. You ring the door. It's been a long.
The bell is a permanent fixture in your brain now, right?
And it couldn't come soon enough. Because
Okay.
they're supposed to sing for a minute, and then someone taps the bell and it rings, and they're supposed to stop, and they're always like, "Well, they're always asking, well, is that a minute?" And the guy next to me goes, "In our world, it's been way much longer." But anyway, it was a long day. All right, so tell me what we're doing.
Actually, can you put up Larry's, Steve?
That's what I was going to just click on. So we'll start the song part. And this first one is an instrumental. And so basically add your critique. And then after this is over, because Larry had to leave early, and you can speak a bit.
Okay, so am I seeing what you're seeing?
Yes.
Oh, Larry.
I'm
Okay.
sharing
Yeah.
my screen. Yeah.
Okay, so I have this Irene Kaffinis.
Hello?
Well, that's a different song. Yeah.
So I just
I'm going
X
to
that
click
out
on,
for now.
I'm going to click on, this is, okay, let me enter it. Okay, this is Larry Rousseau. The name of the song is Mod Stomp. It's an instrumental. Let me start it over again. There we go.
Okay. Larry still here?
Yeah, right here.
Oh,
Yes, yes,
great. Are you a guitar player?
yes.
Didn't know that. Anyway, actually, these are the types of songs, some of the songs that I really enjoy. Um, I understand the theme, and I think that obviously it's well played, and certainly the guitar sounds really great, or all the guitar sounds sound pretty great. But I don't know if pardon me for saying this, but I want more.
You want more?
I think that the main theme is repeated a lot, and so I, I think the song can be developed with other sections that aren't necessarily this same theme based, and I think then the song becomes more compelling because if the riff that is central to the melody is repeated over and over again throughout the entire song, what happens is we don't get the verse chorus separation that makes the theme really, really important. So
Yeah.
we're hearing this over and over and over again, and psychoacoustically or we're just envisioning it, so it becomes a little bit predictable. And I know that's not necessarily what you're going for. So my thinking is, well, I love what you're doing. More, please.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it could be developed into a song. Actually, the way it was written with that is that the brief specified uh, can create your cue over a single motive. So
Oh, I
not,
see.
you see here the same motive, repeated in different octaves with harmony, but with
Oh, I see.
changing the background, changing the rhythm of the supporting
I should have
parts.
asked about that beforehand because my commentary then becomes de minimis.
No, I mean it could be developed into something, into a
Yeah,
real song with A and B sections. Yeah.
right, right. I yearn for that.
Okay. Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Jimmy, did you want to have Jeffrey talk, or do you want to just keep going with songs, or what?
Well, I think we should let Jeffrey tell us a bit about what he does and all that other good stuff too, and
Yeah.
what you're doing right now there, Jeff, because I know you're in Toronto for a reason other than just the vocal competition, because that's part of what you do. But let's go ahead and let's hear about what you've been doing and what you
Sure.
all about.
Um, I've been making records for 45 years. I also produce large multi-day music festivals, and the I love making music. I've done about 200 plus records. Those records have received a few Grammys, and it's been very rewarding for me because I'm not really typecast into kind of one specific type of music. And you would think by looking at me that I'm dead man walking, but I will say this in my own defense that from here up I'm 12, from here down we're not talking. But needless to say, I do a lot of different types of music and with a lot of different types of people, most of them quite young. We just released a Afrobeat gospel song from a female artist in Trinidad. I've got 4 songs coming out in the pop area. I'm a singer in Norway. I have a saxophone record from a guy in Jamaica that we're going to do this year, and um, a singer in Ireland, one in New Brunswick, and so I'm doing a lot of international records, and the reason that I go to these talent shows uh, is to see if there's anybody that's worthwhile. And they don't pay me to come to these talent shows. They pay expenses. They pay the airfare partially. Did you know on Canadian Airlines you can buy a ticket, but you have to buy the seat? The ticket gets you on the plane, but it doesn't allow you to sit down. You actually have to buy the seat. It's the weirdest thing ever. I don't really understand it, but um, somehow they get away with it. Anyway, so a lot of clients or some clients come from these shows, and you never know who's going to show up. This particular convention, they take really good care of you, but the talent, singing wise, is leaves a lot to be desired. But you got to start somewhere. So I'm very happy to work with any singer that actually is committed. Any singer that has the passion, the drive, the desire, I'm happy to work with them. I don't care if they're a good singer or not, because they have what most people don't have, which is passion. And I think passion bleeds into anything. And I have developed strategies for working with young vocalists or young artists that I'm very big on psychology in terms of uh, let's just call it the benefit of the doubt prior to listening. So let me give you an example. So if I'm working with an artist that is new or relatively new, it doesn't matter how old they are, um, I try to make it appear so that there is this benefit of the doubt that they're really good and they haven't even heard them. So, for example, I try to surround each artist with an all-star band. And an all-star band might be, the drummer with Ringo Starr, the bass player with Prince, the guitar player, it's musical director with Josh Groban, the keyboard player who's musical director with Ariana Grande, on and on and on and on. So what happens is if you were to see record with those names, there's a decent chance that you might recognize one or more of those. And so your initial thought might be, oh my gosh, I don't know who this artist is, but look at that band. She must be good. So that psychological benefit of the doubt transfers over to the listening of that song. And I find it very interesting that I need all those type of bullets because we have to rise above the noise. And I don't, what the noise is to me is 120,000 songs are being released every day. So if 120,000 songs are being released every day, 42 million songs a year, that's a lot of noise. And this is a kind of a daunting statistic. 75% of all the songs on Spotify, let me just repeat that, 75% of all songs on Spotify will never be listened to once. Okay. It's a very, very heady and yet frightfully disturbing statistic. And that's simply because it's easy to release material. It's easy to create material. It's easy to release material. Years ago, a few years ago, distribution was a huge problem. Okay, people wanted to be on labels because they had the key to distribution. Even some independent labels had what's known as regional distribution. So there was always a fight to get onto a label because there was distribution. Now you can get to every single person in the world who has a smartphone or a computer within 36 hours. Okay, so now if you couple that with the ability through software that's available now, programs, outboard gear, all of that stuff to create your own music, whether it's loops or sequences or anything like that, God forbid you should use AI, then automatically you can see how the plethora of songs could be released. And if you're trying to do something and you think, okay, so I'm going to get on Spotify, I'm going to get on Apple Music, I'm going to get on all these things, then so what? So our big question is, okay, so you've done something, what now? So we try to answer the what now question because it's really, really significant. And it's more difficult for anyone to rise above the noise these days. So I've had to develop these strategies in order to give our artists a fighting chance. And by the way, since I use real musicians playing real music in real time, it's not difficult to understand. There's only 10,000 ways to make a record that's cheaper than working with me. Okay. Not too many that are better, but there's still a lot of, you can do things in your bedroom. You can do things in a studio that you could never do before. And in certain cases, as a tool for songwriting and as a way to go, as a learning experience, I think that's very valuable. There are certain genres of music that do not require live musicians. EDM immediately comes to mind. That's an experiential music is what I call it. In other words, you go someplace to experience EDM and a lot of other things go along with it. Okay. So I think that's, it's perfect. I like to capture a performance rather than manufacture it. Okay. It's kind of the key to my career. Most of the records that I do are live to 2 tracks with no mixing, no editing, no overdubbing. You have 3 guitar parts, you have 3 guitar players. So, and we're all in the room at the same time. It's daunting, that's for sure. But I think that at the end of the day, there's some magic that comes from that. For those younger artists, they shrivel up when I mention live 2 track recording. So because they don't have the self-confidence to feel that they can actually do that. And for the most part, they probably are right. I don't make any judgments. We do live to multi-track too. I did a record once with a very older gentleman, Pat Boone, and we did the entire record live to 2 tracks except for him. So he spent 2 weeks doing his vocals. So that pretty much breaks any type of budget. Okay. But at the same time, I have to be sensitive to each of my artists. They all want something different. And a part of what my job as a producer is to understand their needs and make sure that I facilitate that. And I'm not talking about dreams or anything like that. I just, there are some singers, even though they're youthful, that know exactly what they want. And this is a dream come true for a producer. I mentioned these 4 pop songs from a girl from Norway. The first time in 45 years I've ever worked with any singer that came to the recording studio with no lyric sheets, no cheat sheets, no crutches. She knew the songs, and only one of them she co-wrote. So, and we did the recording live to multi-track, and during the time, she would sing with the band, and that band was the drummer from Ringo Starr, Greg Bissonette, his brother Matt Bissonette, who had just got off the road from 11 years with Elton John, the guitar player Tara Cocconi from Josh Groban, and the keyboard player from Ariana Grande, and Nicole Scherzinger, and a whole bunch of others. And we had a moment there where I was telling her that, these guys are now your band. They're going to follow you everywhere. She said, really? So she went out of the vocal booth, and everybody was looking at her, and she said, Jeff said that you're now my band and that you're going to follow me anywhere. Is that right? And in unison, it was like I couldn't have planned it better. They all said yes. So it was a it was a really good moment. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about is tone and atmosphere in a session. Okay, the atmosphere when you go into a recording studio, if you go into a recording studio, is very important. If someone is uptight or nervous, everyone will be uptight and nervous. You thought COVID was contagious. It is really, really important that everybody be of the same mind, and that's how things get done. But it's up to me as the producer to set the tone. So if I'm uptight and I'm nervous, if I'm the leader, then everyone else is going to go, oh my God, well, something is wrong. I'm going to, and then all of a sudden things start to go south. Everybody turns inward, and I can't get a performance out of the singer because she's afraid she's going to be judged by all the other musicians that she doesn't know, and that I won't like her, and her parents won't give her any more money, and that her career will fly. You know what I mean? The domino effect happens. So I try to kind of set the tone, set the atmosphere, and because we're in there for a very, very short period of time in which I have to get a certain amount of music for a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time. If any of those things don't happen the way that I'm hoping they will, we're done, you know? So I know that, for example, this is how I set the tone. I know, for example, that the bass player from Prince, Rhonda Smith, and Tara Cocconi, the guitar player, with Josh Groban and Aretha and all those, they love wine. So, I'll bring a bottle of decent wine. I'll put it by their chair. Okay, it's a very nice, way to say hello. But because I'm a little bit weird, I scotch taped a straw to each bottle. So so when you go into the recording studio and you look at the bottle and you see the straw, you can't help but smile. You may even laugh. And that sets the whole tone. The atmosphere is creative, friendly, nurturing, and that's what you want. And what generally happens is the song ends up being recorded quickly because everybody is encouraging everybody else. If there's a mistake, everybody wants to do better. And on those type of sessions, it's wonderful to see. On all of my sessions, the chart is just, I don't even know. I don't even think it's a guideline anymore because I take the chart up to each individual person and I say, look, I hired you for you. Here's the chart. Please don't play it. Because the guy that arranged this doesn't know your strengths as a guitarist, doesn't know what you know as a drummer. He can't program drum. So if you hear something that would enhance the song, please don't ask. Let's just do it. Okay. And I thought this is what everybody does. Producers don't hang out in other producer sessions that often. So I just thought this was okay. That's why you're hiring, Lee Sklar or, any of those guys. But no, it's not. And I think they yearn for the ability to kind of create a better line than what's written. And I appreciate that. I want all of the musicians to be invested, not just simply playing the ink. Because if you're playing what's written, then you don't really have an emotional stake in it. You're just playing what's written, and you're going to be great anyway, but it still doesn't have the real you. I mean, there are times when I see a bass player playing standing up, and I see that same bass player play sitting down. There's a huge difference. So I always ask this particular bass player, Abe Laboriel Sr., stand up because he gets into it when he stands up. When you sit down, you can't bounce around like you do when you're standing up. Uh, so these are things, I mean, that I appreciate, and I love these guys, and it, it's 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 bec it's become a family. You end up uh, you end up. My problem is I have so many friends over 40 years that are great musicians. I feel like I'm betraying each one of them when I call somebody else. It's crazy, but it's really contagious. And guys will drive hours to do one of these sessions. And I appreciate that. I have guys regularly coming in from Las Vegas just to do one song. Okay. It's crazy. Uh, we don't go through the musicians union. We pay more anyway. But it's just one of those things. I want that passion. We prepare very, very heavily before the recording session. It may take me, believe it or not, the average time it takes me from the moment we start pre-production to when we go in the studio is about a year. Okay. And I just won't let any artists go into the studio before they're ready. Don't want them to embarrass themselves. I want them to feel confident about the arrangement. I want them to feel confident about the songs that they've selected. And it takes time. Most young artists aren't the best songwriters. Actually, they're closer to the worst songwriters. But they need to start somewhere. They need to learn. And I'll put them with a collaborator that would give them an idea about structure, give them an idea about rhyming schemes, give them an idea about melody, which is always the most difficult thing for young songwriters, creating a compelling melody. And the test that I use for that is if I was to hear one song, would I remember one thing about it after hearing it just one time? It wouldn't matter what it was, but if I couldn't remember one thing, that song fails because it stopped at my ears. It didn't get to me. It didn't get through me. It didn't reach me. So I'm really kind of all over the fact that just Tell me one thing you know. Usually it's the chorus because it's the thing that's repeated the most. But you'd be surprised how many people just don't listen. And so I'm really trying to find out why that occurs. One of the other things that I'm really interested in is when you listen to a song for the first time, how long does it take you to determine whether or not you like that song? Now, I'm not talking about something like radio where the song is bludgeoned to death. You know, you're hearing it over and over and over again. That we know is that's paid. But I'm talking about, just remember one thing, and the psychology of that time period where that's your song. You can listen to that 100,000 times and not be tired of it. How long does it take for that to happen? And most people say the same thing, 5 seconds, and I'm trying to think, okay, so if it takes 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds, what happened? How did that occur? Because it's certainly not consciousness. Okay. So what I've discovered, at least my hypothesis, is that because we are rhythmic beings, we walk in rhythm, we talk in rhythm, everything we do is in rhythm. As a matter of fact, my parents used to call having sex the rhythm method. Okay. So uh, everything we do is rhythmic. So when a song comes on, it immediately merges with the rhythm of your body. And then all of a sudden you're into it. You're into that song. That song is your blood. That song is your groove. Okay. And so for me, it's very important that that occur on stuff that we do. And I really, really appreciate knowing that it's not my consciousness, my brain that says, oh, I like that song or I don't like that song. It's my body that's saying, dude, this is a pretty hard groove. I'm digging it, man. And I can listen to stuff. Well, I can listen to the band Stuff. I don't know if you ever heard of them, forever. And just those guys are so amazing. So I love the groove, and I that resonates with me sometimes even more often than the lyric. The other thing that I look for in any vocalist is authenticity, believability. You know, I want to make sure that the who's ever singing the song is actually committed to that lyric. You can sing the song, but I'm interested in having the singer feel the song. I think there's a big difference. And I don't sing, but I think that every single person, whether they're a professional or not, can tell whether the vocalist is phoning it in or really means it. And I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the fact that just because you're a singer and just because there's a song doesn't mean you can sing it. I really feel that the biggest problem with vocalists is that they're not committed to their vocal. And for some reason, we can hear it. And I can't describe it, what I'm hearing. It's kind of like pornography. You can't define it, but believe me, you know it when you see it. And it's just one of those things that I'm really interested in. Okay. And the other thing is, I'm interested in trust. Okay. In order for an artist to be successful in the recording studio, at least, and even on stage, you have to trust the people that you're with. So for me as a producer, the trust occurs over time, having nothing to do with the recording studio. So I spend a lot of time with my artists, just finding out about them, telling them my war stories, telling them the weird stuff that goes on. I tell them about a very famous songwriter who did a record. He's a really great singer. In the middle of the session, this was the days when everything was union. In the middle of the session with all these A+ players, he decides to go out and get a massage. And I'm thinking, what are you doing. The label representative sitting right next to me happened to be Japanese. So he didn't really understand what was happening. And I assured him that everything was okay. But this guy decided to get a massage. And in the middle of a session, I don't know if anybody has ever experienced that before. And so I'm trying as hard as I can to keep him there because the musicians are going to get paid no matter what. He leaves. An hour and a half later, he comes back and he's hunched over, really badly hunched over. And there's a guy following him with a fishing tackle box who I don't know. And they're walking into the studio, and then the control room, and then there's the main studio where the musicians are, and then way over here on the left is a series of small rooms where the vocal booth was, and you actually couldn't see what was going on inside. There was no cameras or anything, and I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is that this wasn't a good sign. So I went back there to see what was going on, and when I came back, that fishing tackle box was opened, and they're cantilevered out. And I took a look at they were all filled with pills. The guy had brought his own portable pharmacist. And I said, "So what is this?" He said, "Well, I got a massage, the type of massage where they walk on your back, whatever." He said, "They broke 3 ribs." And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, am I going to survive this?" And he had brought this guy to give him the pain pill so that he could finish the recording. And he did finish the recording. And then he went off the rails, he wanted to tear up everyone's contract and not, they don't need a contract. We're going to do this all for charity. And, and then he wanted to keep the master. I mean, he just went off the deep end. And this was at 1 a.m, and the musicians, who were very famous, did not like this. Just hold up. They can wait for their paychecks. And the musicians, Jeff Porcaro, the drummer, passed away from Toto, if you remember, one of the greatest session drummers of all time, nicest guy in the world, because he wanted, at that time, it was getting so late and the artist was so off. And he finally yells out, because he wanted to keep the masters, which of course he couldn't have. Jeff says, "Give him the fucking masters. Let's get our fucking paycheck and get the fuck out of here," And it was chaos. But let me just say this: Luther Vandross was on the date, just as a background singer. It was incredible. We had an amazing band. But anyway, the stories are endless, and I know every one of you probably has stories of your own that you can share. But I'm just telling you right now, it's a wonderful world, the musicians' world. I mean, just the characters. Each one of these musicians is characters. Vinnie Colaiuta, one of the most famous drummers of all time. You don't even need to wait until he shows up. You can hear him because he's walking very slowly down the hallways, yelling out, "Here comes trouble. Here comes trouble." And it's Vinny. And he's the greatest, man. He's sits down and just, it creates magic. But that's why you hire these people, so that they can give your artist credibility, so they can rise above the noise, so they have a chance. And the challenge is, when I talk to my artists, I say the same thing. If you have any idea how much time, how much money, how much sacrifice, how much anguish it takes to be really, really shitty, if you can just get up to the point of being unbelievably crappy, then you might know what it takes to be really good, And this is an industry where you really have to know your craft. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff on TikTok and everything like that, but you just really got to know your craft. And John Brahaney, who was a friend of all of us, wrote a great book called The Craft and Business of Songwriting. And I got to tell you, that's an amazing book. John was an amazing guy. He was a songwriter's best friend, and a really an influence on all of us, including myself. I often repeat the statement that he said to me that a great song is a mixture of predictability and surprise. So if you haven't got that book, I suggest that it's something that you would consider. There it is, right there. There it is. Man after my own heart. Uh, so um, I think it's important to know not only the structural component of songs, but also the business side of things, because publishing is really, really weird these days. And the more people that write a song, the more challenging it's going to be later on. I'm always an advocate of protecting your songs when it's finished, when the moment it's finished, because if the song blows up and you haven't protected it, watch what happens. Everyone develops amnesia. You didn't write that. I wrote that. That verse was all mine. Are you kidding? Who crafted the hook, motherfucker? No, you know what I mean? And it gets weird because you want to make sure that your songs are protected, especially today, with licensing, sync agents, everything like that being a much, much, much more important source of revenue than actually selling the song. You just got to be protected. The other thing to consider is when you're licensing for film, but especially for television, they do everything at the very last minute. So if there are multiple songwriters on a song, you want to make sure that you have that song pre-cleared before anything happens, because the music supervisors for television shows don't have much time to negotiate. I should say this, they don't have any time to negotiate. So they'll take the song that's pre-cleared if they like it for a specific scene. And it's really, really important. Uh, as far as film is concerned, speed is also really important in terms of negotiating. I got a call from the manager of this keyboard player named Bob Malone. He's a keyboard player. He does a solo act all over Europe and everything. He lives in Los Angeles, but he also is a keyboard player with a rock group, very well, John Cougar. Yeah, maybe John Mellencamp. Anyway, I can't remember which one. And his manager called me and said, "Can you do the licensing for this song?" Bob did a version of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." Remember the movie, the Grinch movie? Well, they've kind of remade that umpteen times. You'd think they'd have an original idea, but nope. We're going to do another The Grinch Who Stole Christmas movie. So he asked me if I could do the licensing for it for him, and I said I can do that. The license will take 90 seconds or less to negotiate. However, it's universal, so you may not get paid for months. And because it's universal, I'm not going to ask your permission for anything. I'm going to do the deal myself. I'm going to make all the decisions myself. And in terms of the money, not going to ask you. I'm not going to ask your client. I'm not going to ask you. If that's something that you can live with, we can move forward, because I really know what's going on here. So he said, okay. They had no idea what I was talking about. I then called the head of licensing at Universal, and I don't know her, didn't know her. Name was Kathy. And I said, my name is Jeff Weber. I'm doing the licensing for, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, which incidentally was recorded over 15 years earlier. But Bob Malone had one of those, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," type voices, So I called her and I said, look, my name's Jeff Weber. I'm doing the licensing. I'd like to tell you in advance my negotiating style. And now imagine you're listening to this idiot on the phone, Jeff Weber, telling you his negotiating style for a license. You're automatically thinking, this guy's. And I say, here's how it's going to go down. You ask me a question, I say yes. You need something, I say yes. You want something, I say yes. Do we have an understanding? Just say yes. And, again, remember I was telling you about atmosphere and tone? I had set up the whole thing. She said, and I after that, I said, by the way, you're asking for 6 seconds of this song to be played in the trailer, not even in the movie, just the trailer. Okay. What has Universal been known to pay for something like that? And she said, well, if it's really, really good, we've been known to pay up to $20,000. And I said, okay, just want to make sure that if these 6 seconds are really, really good, you're going to pay up to $20,000. She said, yes. And then she said, would you please call call the songwriter, I'll call the artist and see what he's looking for. And I said, sure, be happy to do that. And I hung up the phone and I counted to 30. And I called her back and I said, he would like to have $27,500. And she said, do you think he would take 25? And I said, if it helps speed things up, by all means. And so we're on a roll here. And then I get another call saying the creatives have decided that the song needs more. So they've added strings and horns. And I'm going, oh, God, help me. Please listen to the song and have your artist approve the changes. I listened to the songs. They gave me 2 versions. One was absolutely miserable. It was like, how did these guys ever get a job at Universal? I mean, I have a 1-year-old that could do better. And the second one was not much better, but it was a sludge better. Okay, and I'm thinking to myself, this is horrible. So I write back to the licensing girl and I go, fantastic, let's go. Then, of course, since the manager's copied on all this correspondence, he sends me an email saying, hey, listen, we see that you approved the embellishments. Bob thinks that one is absolutely terrible and the other one's just, marginally better. I said, well, you have a choice here. You can assert your dominance or get paid. Pick one. Okay. And at the end of the day, Bob Malone gets 30 grand for 6 songs in a trailer that completely disappears. What I'm really gratified about is that he paid off all his credit cards that he had for 20 years and had balances for 20 years. I got to tell you, that made me feel great. So anyway, you never know where the money's going to come from, but it's probably not going to come from streaming. Okay. There's something on my Facebook page. I put a figure that says that you make as much money selling one LP than you do with 5,000 streams. 200 hours of listening, you make more money selling one album. I don't know about you, but to me, that's really, really depressing. And it's unfair. It's unfair that, when somebody listens to your song, they're actually consuming it. Wouldn't you agree? When you listen to a song, you've consumed that song. That's what happens when you buy a ticket and you go see a movie. You've consumed that. When you go to a restaurant, you pay for your food. You've consumed that. But it's different. Okay. You get paid 0.0001, something like that. It's ridiculous, but songwriters and artists aren't in control. The major labels purchase a lot of stock in the companies that are doing that. And so we don't have an equitable arrangement. There's a reason why artists don't get any royalties for their songs played on the radio in the United States, the only country in the world that doesn't do that. It's because in the beginning, there wasn't any representation for artists when these deals were cut. Just like all the other stuff, it's all negotiated by record labels. And when you negotiate something, you negotiate it for your interest, not everybody else's. So my comment, and I do these talks all the time. One of them is, if you sign a major label deal, your career is over, and I can prove it. So if your goal is to be on a major label, I would suggest that you give it some further thought. It just doesn't make any sense anymore, especially from a financial standpoint. And if you understand the realities of what a record company on a major label is interested in, very, very few get to that tipping point where you become a cash cow and they will fall all over themselves to give you whatever you want. But until that time comes, it's a very difficult road. I would rather have my artists own their own content, be in charge of whatever, all of the music themselves. I'm really not a major label fan. Okay, I don't think they treat artists fairly. Believe it or not, I was asked by a record company they said they were signing a young artist, and she didn't have enough money for a lawyer. So they asked me to represent her and negotiate the deal on her behalf. Okay. And they'll pay me. And I'm thinking to myself as I say, well, that's only just a slight conflict of interest, but only slight. What are you, crazy? So, and the reason they did that is because there was no negotiation. Okay. It was such an unfair deal, and they wouldn't budge on it. And I just said, look, can I just negotiate the date? Is that open for discussion? The date, And of course it wasn't. And it was one of those things where the record company controls the cards, and you just have to be careful. That's why I encourage independent artists to, start their own label, be on an indie label. It's a very simple proposition. If you do the math, if you sell $1, then if you're on an indie label, you're probably going to keep $1, even if it's your own label. If you're on a major label and you sell $1's worth, you're going to get maybe a dime, maybe 15 cents. The label's going to keep the 85 cents and tell you how much in the red you are while they're pocketing all the money. Okay. It's a very, very easy thing to see. And the most heinous thing is what's known as the 360 deal. And that to me is a clear admission on the part of the record companies that they're not doing their job selling your music. But in case you somehow manage to get your own shows and your own this and that, they want part of it because they're going to tell you how much exposure and opportunity they provide, they've presented to you, which they haven't. You've got it all yourself. So I love the 360 deals. Again, doesn't work for anybody but the label. Thanks for letting me talk. Have I blabbered enough? I could go on. I love this stuff.
Yeah, but I think we should be listening to some stuff. So
thank you, Jimmy. I was hoping you'd say that.
No, but you gave us a lot of great information and very powerful stuff.
Be along with you. Already are.
Yeah.
I don't want to, go on forever, but yeah.
Yes, you do, but that's okay.
All right.
I'm
going to share my screen. So this is the next song is from Rini Kafinis. This is called "Bored Little Kid." And let me see, I got the record.
And you can just kind of wave or something when you've heard enough there, Jeff. So.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Would you say that again, Jimmy?
There's about another 8 or 9 songs. So, yeah, just to give you a sense of where we are. Here we go.
What's been long out of reach. Nobody told me how much it changed my mind about me. I wasn't clueless and knew that life isn't linear. Didn't know how good I had it till I looked in the rearview mirror. Wanted to move to the big city. Wanted to see what maybe could be, and it's been good, but there's so much more to it. drive out of your hometown. Clinging to the idea it's bigger and better out there. Told everyone, hey, I'll be back here. But it's been like almost 2 years. Wanted to move to the big city. Wanted to see what maybe could be. And it's been good, but there's so much more to it. Now all I want is for one time we could fade in a child who feels right. Laying in the flowers on the playground. Playing that kind of dirty wouldn't hurt. And for one night we could fall asleep pretending we're alright. Like growing up isn't waiting on the doorstep. Gotta miss being a poor little kid. Wanted to move to the big city. Wanted to see what maybe could be. And it's been good, but there's so much more to it. Now all I want is for one time we could fade in a child who feels right. Laying in the flowers on the playground. Playing that kind of dirty when it hurts. And for one night we could fall asleep pretending we're alright. But growing up isn't waiting on the doorstep. Gotta miss being a poor little kid.
Who's Irene?
Hello.
I got to tell you, I love this song.
Thank you so much.
I really, really like it. I think structurally it's sound, although admittedly, when I first heard the first line repeated at the top of the song, it was I couldn't really understand the words without the
Mhm.
music. But I like the way you tied it together in the end.
Thank you.
I'd like to send this to an artist that I'm working with. Would you mind?
Please do. I'd love that.
I really do want I have a couple of artists actually I'd like to send this to.
Yeah.
I think it's structurally sound. I think the pre-chorus is good leading into the chorus, and I'm hoping I'm identifying the pre-chorus like I should.
Mhm.
So I think it's structurally sound. I think that there's a story there, and I'm big on that. And
Mhm.
I love I love the fact that you even changed the groove from the first part of the chorus to the second part of the chorus.
Right.
That verse chorus separation, that means a lot to me. And we don't get bored.
Yeah.
I think
Ironically, in this with the song being called Bored.
yeah, we don't get bored. And I think it's catchy.
Thank you.
think I think the song is catchy.
Thank you
And
so much.
so I'm very pleased. So how does that work, Jimmy? Do you send it to me, or can you send me the demo and the lyric sheet?
Steve could probably do that.
Yeah.
Is that
It
possible,
just
Steve?
Yeah,
sure just need your email address, basically. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we'll give you.
Jimmy has that for you. It's jeffreyweber@me.com. I mean, it's amazing. Um,
It is set to be released on May 17th,
well, there it goes, the damn thing. Yeah.
so let me know if you want me to reach out to my distributor or
No,
anything.
I want you to continue on. I'll just do a cover of it.
Perfect. Awesome.
Mailbox money.
Slay. Thank
There
you.
you go.
Yeah, no, I try to give my artists songs that I think might resonate with them,
Mhm.
more about the story than anything else, and see if they have some sort of shared lyrical experience. Uh,
Right.
and if that's the case, and I'll be honest with you, most of the time I don't hit the mark. Um,
Mhm.
a couple of times I do, and again, I just think that for a young artist, this might be a really, really good song. And I'm dealing
Yeah.
with some young females, and I think it might be good for them. I never push somebody into a song. They
Right.
have to feel it, and if
Right.
it's really good, then it's really good. So, are you releasing it under your own name?
Yep. My name online is Rini K. I don't know why my email was showing as Irini, but yeah, I'm an independent artist, so I'll be releasing it independently. And pretty much I do a bunch of like stuff with social media for it, and it's part of a waterfall release from few other singles beforehand. So this is the fourth single on a 5 single waterfall release.
Great. No, I
Yeah.
was quite impressive. I love I love how the chorus is the resolution of the verses, and that's important also to me, that there's a story that is resolved in some certain way or not resolved by the chorus.
Right.
So I'm appreciative of that. And yeah, I'd like to see what damage we can do.
Awesome. Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
if we do end up using it, you're certainly welcome to come to the session and heckle.
I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to.
Well, let's see what happens.
All right. Yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
stay in touch. Of
Yes,
course.
please.
Absolutely.
Okay. Next up, we'll have Cameron DeVries, and this is a song called Crystal Kind of Girl.
Who's Cameron? Perfect.
Share my screen. And
my girl's got magic in her eyes. Her dress cut up like butterflies. She's my crystal kind of girl. Her heart flutters but never lies. She wears a masterful disguise. My crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. A crystal kind of girl. A crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. My girl is bright like disco light. Her moods are color wheel each night. My crystal kind of girl. She calls to heaven to make plans. She's got more heart than you can stand. My crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. My crystal kind of girl. She's got spirit, she's got style. She holds my hand and takes me miles from everything. She's got truth and she's got love. She breaks the walls that stand between us all. My crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. Pure mineral stone. Not mother of pearl. She reads me like an open book. And steals my heart with every look. A crystal kind of girl. A crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. Crystal kind of girl. She's got spirit, she's got style. She holds my hand and takes me miles from me. She's got truth and she's got love. She breaks the walls that stand between us all. A crystal kind of girl. A crystal kind of girl.
Okay. Just taking a little note here for myself. The vocal is so cool. Very expressive, very evocative. I really do like the tone of your voice. That's you, yeah? Yeah. It really, it's one of those voices that I think can make people believe anything, you know? But I just really like the delicacy of it. And, it just kind of ushered me into the song, you know? There was a moment, correct me if I'm wrong, that you did your own harmony on a vocal, or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, we actually had a second vocalist who joined me on the harmony on the chorus.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Did that go all the way through, or did I just?
There were two vocalists on each chorus.
Yeah, I think more could have made of that. To be perfectly honest, I thought it was a really good idea. I didn't know if it was you harmonizing yourself or having, but I thought that's a strong suit, and maybe not even on the first chorus, but maybe bring it in later so that it has more power. My note says that the harmony was a little too early for me. I want it to be like a little gift to me later on, you know. I thought the acoustic aspects of the song were just perfect for what you were going for. It matched your vocal a lot, so I really appreciated that. And the line, "Her mood's a color wheel each night." Yeah, I love that line. That's my wife. But yeah, I really adored that line. What I thought, for me personally, that could use some development is every verse was the same exact thing. You telling me how great this girl is. But that's all we got. We didn't get any more of the story. We just got this kind of exposition on how she's amazing, but we didn't get more of the story. And then there was no resolution in the chorus because it was just repetitive of that one phrase. So I think that you're off to an unbelievably great start when you combine all the things that you already have. I want to know more about the story, and I want to know what happened. Did she believe all the stuff you've been telling her, or you know what I mean? And does it have a happy ending, or was she already married and you made a mistake? I mean, are you her fourth guy that night? I want to know shit, So I think that this song is really terrific. There's a really great heart to this song. I just want to know more about what happened. Okay. And by the way, it's really tough to find a line in a song that you go, oh my God, I wish I would have thought of that. Oh, but then I remember I'm not a songwriter. But I really do love that line, and I think it's a universal one, and I think it's a gem. So that's my feeling about that song.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's my co-writer's line, the color wheel. We each wrote 50% of the lyrics, and I just wanted to point out that that's my co-writer Ira. I thought it was really awesome too.
Well, if you copyright it now, then he'll get credit for it. If not, then everybody develops that. Oh, wait, you didn't write that. I dreamt that and I wrote it down, and then you're taking credit for it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I don't know who wrote what, but all I'm saying is that I think this is a very evocative song. It's easy to get. It's easy to believe, I should say. And I think that's a big victory. Okay.
Okay. Next is Kurt here. Kurt Thompson. Guess not, huh? Okay.
We can get Emmanuel's up because he's at also a different time zone.
Yeah. Okay. Let's bring up Emmanuel. This is called Good Gumbo. And let's see here. Share my screen. Find Zoom.
Thanks for doing this. I really enjoy these things.
Enjoy having you.
Yes.
Well, you're sitting in the kitchen, can't decide what to make. A to fake, come to mind, lots of work. And then say cafe au lait, and then yes, would sure hit the spot. So would pulled pork poutine, savory, spicy and hot. Well, 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 well. Now pull out all of your pots, pull out all of your pans, pull out all of the stops. Do everything that you can. No cooking classes or show. 'Cause today you're making good gumbo. Good gumbo. Good gumbo. Now turn off your phone, turn on the kitchen lights. Now sharpen all of your knives. That's how you do it right. Devane 4 pounds of shrimp, cut veggies, cubed and small. It's okay, just that way. When your guests come to call, well, 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 well. Now pull out all of your pots, pull out all of your pans, pull out all of the stops. Do everything that you can. No cooking classes or show. 'Cause today you're making good gumbo. Good gumbo. Good gumbo. Manzele, 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 pour ton lait. Let the good times roll. Stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it. Well, the rule is another mother sauce. Now mistakes with the rule. Big gumbo get crossed. Total silence required. Complete quiet in demand. And if you burn the rule, dump it out and say damn. Drumettes, chicken breast, beef, and you eat red rice and more. Now you can't get this dish down at the corner store. Well, 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 well. verses or show. Cause the day you're making good combo. Good combo. Good combo.
Okay. Who wrote that?
Me, Emmanuel Lawrence.
Hi there.
Hi.
How are you doing? I got to tell you, I think this is the very first recipe song uh, that I've heard where the recipe is in the verses, and I got to tell you, I thought that was really creative, and I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the verses a lot. I wasn't really a fan of the pre-chorus because I didn't know why it was there. I didn't, the well. I didn't see. I just didn't get that part. Okay. It just didn't seem to me to be a necessary thing unless, and also, I didn't really hear too much verse chorus separation. I felt that the only difference that I heard was just the way the melody was structured in there, and I kind of I wanted to have that be more emphatic. Put away your this and do this and that. It needed to be stronger there in order to get the point across. You're making, you know what I mean? It's like you don't need any of this other nonsense because you're making the gumbo, dude. I wanted to hear kind of I wanted to hear more emphasis in the chorus because it sounded like everything was of the same emotional line, and if that chorus was going to be successful in my mind, there was going to be like, hey man, we're doing this or else, the bus is leaving, and if you're not getting rid of all your stuff, you're going to miss this. And I wanted there to be much more emphatic, you know. And I was trying to put, I was trying to put the reason behind the pre-chorus. I just couldn't find a reason for it. And my attitude on a lot of songs that I get in trouble for is when in doubt, throw it out. You know what I mean? If you can't songs shouldn't have any fluff, because then what happens is the listener turns away. And if you let that listener out of your sight, then he goes somewhere else, and they don't come back. So I think that from an interest standpoint, you've got all the ingredients. You're doing something that I don't see at all, really. I mean, you put the whole recipe just about, in the song, which I thought was extremely clever. I mean, for crying out loud, that was wonderful. But I didn't, I think there are certain things that could be developed. Also, the instrumentation was cowbell heavy. Maybe you saw the Saturday Night Live thing and you thought it was an influence, more cowbell. But I thought that there was a lot more to this song that is already on the tracks that you should bring down the cowbell a little bit. But other than that, I was really pleased. I thought it was inventive. I thought it was creative, and I just wanted more passion from the vocal delivery.
Well, thanks for the feedback. The tune is still in production, so I'll take the comments that you made and take them into the production. But I appreciate it, and thanks for providing feedback.
It's just my humble 2 cents. Everything I say is just my knee-jerk reaction. Oftentimes, Jimmy puts us on the spot, and we have to kind of have these knee-jerk reactions to material, which is just the way he wants it. And I listen to a song multiple times because I can't get it all on listening just once. I'll listen one time for the vocal commitment. I'll listen one time for arrangement, or one time for, how the musicians are playing, one time for the song structure, one time for, the compelling aspect of the melody lines. All of these things require separate times for me to listen so that I can really represent the song well in my thought process. But doing it this way is really a lot of fun because you're capturing your thoughts in the moment, and I find that really stimulating. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm doing you the best service that I could.
No, I think you are. You had a good comment about the pre-chorus, and I put the pre-chorus there as a way to break the verse melody and lead into the chorus melody, which is different, of course.
Right. And I appreciate that. I love significant verse chorus separation. Um, I don't know if you need it. It's just,
Understand? Well, I appreciate the feedback.
oh, my pleasure.
Okay, next we have Dan Marcus. This song is called It's Hard to Say.
Who's the Dan Marcus?
Yes.
Hey, Dan.
Why do my arms reach for you? Why am I inclined to wanna stay? Why do I still adore you? It's hard to say. Why do I dream about you? Why do I dream even in the day? Why can't I live without you, baby? It's hard to say. In this world of wonders, this I know is true. Words cannot begin to express all of the wonder of you. Oh, I'll never let you doubt it. My love for you will never go astray. But don't ask me about it, baby. It's hard to say. In this world of wonders, this I know is true. Words cannot begin to express all of the wonder of you. Oh, I'll never let you doubt it. My love for you will never go astray. But don't ask me about it, baby. It's hard to say. Yes, it is. It's hard to say.
Damn, I love that. That
Thank you.
that is a great example of how effective a piano vocal can be. And I really think that straddles the line between being a very effective blues song and yet a very a throwback classic. You know what I mean? A traditional classic song, and I'm just kind of all over it. You know, I thought that the piano arrangement was extremely supportive, and actually, I'm not sure that the vocalist is the right the right vocal for it. I mean, she's very sweet and delicate and everything, but I wondered if a singer with more sass might be really an interesting approach, you know. But the piano was wonderful. I enjoyed every bit of it. It was a great example of a unique song structure, which I truly enjoyed. You know, it wasn't what we normally hear, which I like even better because it was successful and into my ears. And I love the lyric, even though it, you know, like I said on the previous song, it does, it's just the sentiment repeated in different words, but the way that you set it up by having the last line being it's hard to say, then it sets up that becomes essentially the chorus, if you will, and then everything precedes it, and you're just giving examples of these enigmas, and I'm all over that one. I really, really love that. I could listen to that over and over and not be unhappy.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those comments.
Was that Marilee singing?
That was Marilee singing. And Marilee also is my co-writer on the song, I should add.
Yes, and we're absolutely related, except that she has one additional E.
How do you like that?
In her last name. Anyway, yeah, no, that was really good. I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Next up, Dave Clausen, and this is called The Path He's Chosen.
Hey, Dave.
Resides in California, yeah. Trying to make a living off the music is his way. He's far from his vision since he gets no pay. So the starving artist turns a page. Determined to get there to find his soul. Going fast as he can go on this road. As fast as he can go and try to keep a hold. This is a path he's chosen. He clocks in at the factory, trying to make a living to feed his family. The work is hard, he does the best he can. The struggles he faces will make him a man. Determined to get there to find his soul. Going fast as he can go on this road. As fast as he can go and try to keep a hold. This is the path he's chosen. This is the only path he knows. Determined to get there to find his soul, soul, soul. Going fast as he can go on this road, road, road. As fast as he can go and try to keep a hold. This is the path he's chosen. This is the only path he knows.
Sounds like every musician's story.
Yes.
Man. I like the way I like the approach of the opening, the vocal opening, you know. I've always liked those type of things, you know. It's great. I think the vocal was very strong. I did find, however, are we good? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I did find that at times the secondary vocal was distracting. You know, during the scat section, for example, I would have rather heard her do some non-verbal, like some hums or things like that, not to take away from the scat. You know, scat is meant to be a solo, but I found that other vocal was unnecessary in large parts. And then also on some of the harmony parts, I felt it was a little disjointed with the lead vocal. You know, it just didn't seem to fit as well as it could. Maybe a different part or a different note might have been more effective, because she sounded a little bit distant from what the main vocal melody line might be. So if it was a harmony, I think it should be closer to the melody line. You know, maybe a third or a fifth or something like that, you know, but I thought that that was the biggest challenge for me, is to kind of return to the focus on the lead vocal, you know, that type of thing. And pardon me for saying this, but I thought there should be a third verse. You know what I mean? I felt that it might have ended a little too soon, a little bit too predictable. I think there could have been a little bit more going on there that I would have liked to have heard. But there were so many positive things about the song, that I actually would enjoy hearing more. I would hearing more of the story, and so from that standpoint, I felt that there was room there for you to be a little more creative if you wanted to be on another verse, and so you didn't have to rely on basically, you know, the chorus out. And did I feel that the scat section was a good thing? Absolutely. I love all that, you know, and I love that you had fun with it. You know, it is that type of thing. And it's somewhat unusual, because most people would put in like a guitar solo or a sax solo or something like that. So every opportunity to hear something that is slightly offbeat, slightly different, slightly unique is refreshing and welcome, as far as I'm concerned. So
Thank you.
that's what I think.
Thanks.
Okay, next up we have Ed Lackey. This song is called
Who?
Ed Lackey, and it's called
Is
Dancing
Ed
in
here?
the Night. Yes.
Where's Ed?
Yeah, he's Ed right there.
Oh, there you go. Hi, Ed.
Yeah. And let's see. Share screen.
Landing on the airstrip, just left Stockholm. Back to the place where I belong, coming home. So much color, so much life, better than a honeycomb. Dancing in the night, feeling the Caribbean breeze. they like my music and the way I play. I like to watch them dance, shaking out where they. Did they like the way I sing? The backup singers, rich as suede. Dancing in the night, feeling that Arabian breeze. Watching the man play the keyboard with ease. Dancing in the night, singing the way of the palm trees. In the future I will play for you again. Watching your smile, your eyes 5 and 10. We'll all come together, born again. Dancing in the night, feeling the Arabian breeze. Watching the man play the keyboard with ease. Dancing in the night, singing the sway of the palm trees. Dancing in the night, feeling the Arabian breeze.
Did you go on vacation recently?
Oh, but I watched the Bob Marley movie.
I thought that it was kind of yeah, I did too. That was really good. The reggae thing wasn't totally reggae, and it wasn't totally not reggae. And I wonder, I was kind of hoping that there would be less of the effects on the vocal, as well as the little wah 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 that kind of went throughout the song. It made me chuckle, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't know if it was the right thing to have. It kind of I don't know. The effect on your voice, or the vocal, I thought could have been better used if it wasn't all the way through. If I think those type of things, when judiciously placed in a song, make whatever that part of the song is more interesting to listen to. But when it's used from top to bottom, then I think there's a challenge to keep listening to it. Also, one of the major things that I think is that the rhythm is the same throughout the song, which means that in my mind the verse rhythm is the same as the chorus rhythm, and I would love to have a different thing to go after, a little bit more verse chorus separation, just so that we have an understanding of where you're going, and but I overwhelmingly felt that it was kind of a fun song and a tribute to what somebody had a really good time. So, you know what I mean? And I think songs are supposed to be for that. I think they're supposed to be celebrations of certain things. And so from that standpoint, I had a good time with it. I think, again, not to be too redundant, but the most the most the most criticism that I might have has the most potential, which is put that effect on your voice in certain spots, not all the way through. And I think you'll find that you kind of yearn to hear it more. But if it's all the way through, you yearn to hear it less. So I guess less is more in this case. So, but anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I was, you know, I really do enjoy reggae. It's definitely something I just, I recorded a Bob Marley song just recently, and it came out really good. So I'm a big fan. So good luck with that.
Thank you.
Okay, this one's mine, and it's called "No One Seems to Have All Things."
Story of our lives.
And after that, we have two more. Let's see here. Okay.
There's a beam of light that wakes me in the morning. I'm not quite sure that this is now my home, for I've come here searching for things I didn't find before, with another who lies sleeping near a silent phone. No one seems to have all things that ideal lovers bring. Is my new love the one, or just one of many to come? There's a special feeling when my eyes meet with hers, and I thought that I'd never feel this way again. And she's come here searching for things she didn't find before, with the lovers who have parted for no reason. No one seems to have all things that ideal lovers bring. Is my new love the one, or just one of many to come? There's a lover for my heart, there's a lover for my mind, there's a lover for my eyes, out on the street not far behind. I try to make them three, I try to make them two, I try to make them one, but I'm still looking all the time. Is she real or just an artificial vision I won't find? No one seems to have all things that ideal lovers bring. Is my new love the one, or just one of many to come?
All right. Okay. I'm just making a note to myself. I really like the quality of the vocal. It seemed to be open. It seemed to be evocative, easy to get into. I mean, I really felt that it didn't bite me. You know what I mean? I mean, it really was very smooth, and I liked it. I take it this was a song where, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it could very well be that I'm wrong, that these are two people who are trying to find each other or someone, and they don't really know what's happening. The last line of the first two verses is what confounded me. The silent phone parted for no reason. I didn't really. I mean, again, it's my knee-jerk reaction. I didn't really get how that worked with the rest of the verse. I didn't really understand those things. So my overarching opinion was, oh, these are just basically people who are looking for the same thing but haven't found each other yet. Maybe that's it. Maybe it isn't. I think it's open for interpretation. That's something that everybody can bring their own experience to.
Yeah, it's kind of a commentary on, trying to find that ideal person, and you're always sort of searching for them and you're never quite finding it. And you're wondering if you're ever going to find it. And it's sort of that stage in your life before you get wisdom. The wisdom being nobody's perfect. You won't find everything. And
Yeah.
so, the reference to a silent phone, it's like he's going out with one person, but still looking and finding somebody else. And from her point of view, it's falling for somebody, and this person doesn't really, the female doesn't really know why people leave and come and go. It's all sort of a puzzle, and it's like you said, you're trying to find that ideal right soulmate, that person.
Right.
And it's that stage in your life where you're wondering if you're ever going to find it. And I mean, this is a song I guess I would put in a person in their 20s or early 30s or that sort of age group.
Right. Right.
Where you're,
yeah. I think you achieved that goal, because that's in a circuitous way. I think that's what I felt. I felt these people were trying to find each other, or find, I didn't put the trying to find someone. I felt they were basically trying to find each other, but perhaps couldn't. And I think that the vocal matches the lyrics in terms of just the quality of the vocal. It seems to match the I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, the moments of each person's search. It wouldn't work with a harsh voice. It wouldn't work with an aggressive voice. It wouldn't, you know what I mean? I think that
it's a pensive song.
Yeah, it is very pensive, and I think that it's also universal. Which
That's
gives
good.
a big leg up. Because I think everybody at one point or another experiences those same feelings. So, that's pretty cool.
Thanks. Okay, next we have, these two folks aren't here. I talked to Jimmy. He said they may be listening online at some point, so maybe we'll play them. If you want to do a verse chorus on these, or as long as you want, doesn't matter. This first one is Kurt Thompson. It's called The New Me. And let's see.
Oh, so I won't be discussing anything with them. I'll just be listening.
Well, you can make commentary, but they're not actually here. Yeah.
Got it.
They might be watching on YouTube, the stream
that
or something.
Could be, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So.
new and improved Don't feel bad about it. You're moving on. You finally found that special someone that can't be undone. Remember how we drive for hours just trying to get lost. Remember how we talked all night with the movies on pause. So I dug a little hole to sleep in down by the creek. And when we meet again this weekend, well then you'll see it's a new and improved me. Well, you know I've made some changes. Just wait and see. But I can't help but think together forever are words they made for you and me. So I dug a little hole for you to sleep in. It's right next to mine. And when we meet again this evening, I think you'll find that you won't leave this time.
Well, the way that ended musically was interesting, I'll tell you that. Well, this is one of those songs I'm really happy for you, but not really. Like, sorry, not sorry, kind of really, you know what I mean? Like the first half of each verse is like a really happy for you, you found somebody else, and the last half of it saying, well, you know, you should have stuck around because I'm making all these changes and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Hard to hear the lead vocal, at least initially. I felt that it should be higher in the mix, and I think in the first verse they meant to say special someone instead of special something. That confused me a little bit. I felt the guitar solo was a little too long and also not the right sound for the rest of the instrumentation because it was conflicting. And in the you can't really do that and expect for there to be a reason for a solo if you're playing in the same register and the same everything else that the rest of the instrumentation is in, because then the solo ceases to have meaning. But I must confess I was amused by the verses. You know, it was almost like, well, are you upset or not? I mean, because I don't know, but that was an enigma for me.
Okay, last one. This is by, make sure I'm not muted. This is by Papa Setch. It's called, I don't have lyrics on this one. It's called Already Know.
Papa Setch?
S-A-C-H.
Setch.
Yeah, like Setchmo.
Already Know.
Gotcha.
just did win. And all the things I wanted to try ended up falling apart in the end. And every time you tried to set your side on things to show me that you really care. And everything you say will work out right for me and you, for me and you. Can we really find our way? Can you show me where we are? Can you tell me all the ways to play? Do you really know the way? Do you know the way? Can you show the way? Do you know the way? Can you show the way?
No,
Whoops.
that's next week's. Well, this was a kind of a fun song. I liked the intro, especially it was very catchy, and that continued on to the first verse, and actually all the verses. Actually, it was the same throughout the whole song. I wish it would have been different. This is an interesting song for me because I felt that what is in the songwriter's mind, the chorus, should be shortened by half and be a pre-chorus, and a brand new chorus should be written. I mean, it sets itself up so nicely for a more powerful chorus that could even be more catchy. But it just struck me that, oh gosh, it seems so much like a pre-chorus masquerading as a chorus, and I just felt, man, this could really be something. So I felt that overall the verses were quite catchy and fun. It seemed to have this kind of theme park type fun, to it. And I really liked the whole thing. I just felt that if we could just shorten what they might be considered the chorus, make it a pre-chorus, create a brand new chorus, then all of a sudden now we have A, B, C, a completely different type of structure, but I think it would be more effective, and that would also leave room for a kind of an instrumental section after the second chorus and before the whatever they're calling what happened next. That's where I'm at.
The thing I was going to ask you about is so the horns and everything else sound very Phil Collins essentially.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, does that kind of date it, or
To be honest with you, I was so focused on the fact that, gosh, there's a chorus that needs to be written, and this thing should be the first chorus. I mean, yes, the whole horn arrangement is dated. It's also it's all those unison kind of things coming at you, and I like it. I like those things. I think that's fun. Actually, I think this song is kind of, the way it's structured and everything like that, and the feel of it might be considered dated all together. But yeah, for some reason I was focused on wow, this could be really a good song if, not that it's a bad song, but it could be a better song if, and the horns actually filled the arrangement out. But like you said, I definitely feel it was definitely part of the time period that I felt this this Coney Island type theme type, fun type thing was.
Yes, that's one of the interesting things about the industry right now, as you were mentioning. It's so spread out that there's opportunities for everybody. And just like with Daniel's song with Mary Lee, that has that same kind of timeless quality, almost like postmodern jukebox has, where they take contemporary songs and they turn them into something that sounds like it was like the 30s or 40s or something like that. So
I love that. I love the modern approach to that. I love the jukebox. I mean, they're really a great band, and they have this rotating group of singers that really deliver. In my opinion, I'm very much a fan of them, and I do like the idea that someone is trying to do kind of their version or an homage to the classics, but make it their way and their own. I think that's really smart and inventive, and I think there's room for it. The challenge for all of us is because there's no central core to the music industry anymore, we have to do our music our way for ourselves and whomever we can get to follow us. And, I have young artists who are paralyzed by the fact that, what if no one likes my record? And the challenge, of course, is, of course, a lot of people aren't going to like your record. If only 50% of them like your record, then that's a huge victory. We can't even elect a president with 50% of the vote. So, getting 50% of the people to like your song, retire, you've won. But I mean, it was so paralyzing. It stopped the release of a record for 90 days. So I mean, that's and I truly think that everything that we used to consider as important for marketing no longer exists. Why bother trying to get a song on the radio, for example?
There's always a place for almost any song somewhere in film and TV.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And I think a lot of people are realizing that, and so they're kind of music soups, and all these sync agents are deluged with constant song after song after song. And now that you mentioned that, somebody told me that they know that these cues that they're submitted is, okay, romantic interlude, X amount beats per minute, 90 seconds, or, heavy bank, heavy car chase, and he said the way that he got his placements was he changed the titles instead of, a car chase, he'll say something silly like, Pontiac of Doom crosses over a bridge and knocks out three, whatever it is. That's that cue. And so somebody is going to go, what is this guy doing? And they'll listen to the cue. A love song would be something like, guy finally gets girl in bed only to realize she isn't a girl. 30 seconds. You're going to listen to that just for the weirdness of it all, but you have to get people to listen. And to be honest with you, that's the hard part for everything in our business these days. Because you can get your music in iTunes doesn't mean people are going to listen. Well, what about Spotify? What about playlists? It's all great, but if people don't know it's there, they're not going to know to ask for it. So that's why I said earlier, rising above the noise is the most crucial part of the story, And most people can't afford serious marketing, but you can do internet marketing, Facebook marketing, all that stuff for really cheap, and you can target market too. So that's really important. You can, if you have a good, if you like this and you like that, then you're like me. Well, you can target market to all those people that like those other two groups, and they're going to like you. And it may be really expensive, really inexpensive, So, I mean, I have a friend who is a marketing guy, and he said, look, if you tell me I have $5 a week to spend on marketing, I can make it happen. If you tell me I have $100 a week, I can make it happen. give me $1,000 a week, I can make it happen. So I think that's still wide open. But anyway.
No, it's true. A lot of people miss the fact that they're people. And for example, my thing, I just sold my VW, but when I had my VW, I would always start a conversation with somebody else who had a VW. And before long, it's like, hey man, we're having a little picnic. Why don't you come on down and play? Hey man, you sound pretty good. Where can I listen to your stuff? And that develops, and all of a sudden, I've got all these fans who are VW fans, but because they're VW fans, they like me. Because they like me, they like my music, and then that creates a whole different thing. And same is true for even food. People that like Italian food say, hey, I like Italian food. Yeah, it's good. And go on with that. So marketing yourself as yourself for what you like other than music is another alternative way of bringing people around and making things happen. And that's why I'm doing this thing with these older artists, because they've got experiences and stuff. We have experiences and stuff that a lot of the younger kids don't have, but because we're also baby boomers, we have a pretty large core market that we can address. It's hey, you guys, you got your AARP thing, da da da. It's, oh yeah, yeah, depends, and it just goes on and on. So it's a very, very cool thing.
I think what you're saying is basically how we sell music today, which I think is the peer-to-peer recommendation engine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that is the key to selling music, is when one person says, oh my God, you need to check out this new guy, Jimmy Yamaguchi, he's blah, 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 blah. And then they're going to go to a discovery engine. Well, let's just call it TikTok or YouTube or, any of those types. And they're going to find Jimmy. And then they're going to tell their friends, oh man, I love this guy. And that's how I think we sell music. We don't sell music because radio. We don't sell music because of magazine reviews or ads. We don't sell music any of the old-fashioned ways. We sell music because one person likes it and he tells a person he trusts and has similar musical tastes. And that's how music is sold, in my opinion. So 2 ways: public performance, social media. That's it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Jeff, yeah. You guys have any other questions for him?
Please accept my apologies for being a half hour late. I just could not make this damn hotel internet work.
Yeah, no problem there.
No problem. All's well that ends well, right?
No, but it's not meant to be, but it can show a lack of respect, and I don't mean to do that.
No
So
problem.
you're going to be back in LA pretty soon, right?
Sunday,
okay. And then you said you might be moving out this way, or?
I'm trying. I live in Oxnard now, and so I'm trying to move closer, because it's, I thought it would be good for me and good for my wife, because a little bit more moisture in the air. We found out that's not the case, and that the weather is a lot different in the valley, which I particularly like. My wife hates it, and other she definitely does not like. The challenge for me is the fact that, and we discussed this briefly, Jimmy, a lot of the prices in the valley or areas are so out of line with the value. It's almost impossible to find some place without having to rob 2 banks on your way to signing the lease. It's just ridiculous. So I don't know. I'm going to see an apartment. My wife is just texting me right now. Speaking of her, she's had her radar on. We're going to see an apartment near UCLA, which is semi-reasonably priced. But my wife has very particular things, and I promised her she could pick the place this time. So I think we'll be homeless for the rest of our lives. So.
With that,
I definitely owe you lunch sometime soon, or even dinner. We'll see what happens.
Listen, I love doing this with you. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and I'm happy to come back and spew my jaded perspective anytime. And just don't give up. You just can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Much
Anytime.
appreciated.
Next time, I want to have a raffle of my book. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes, that's a good thing too, definitely.
Let's do that. By the way, my book is called "You Sound Amazing: Every Single Lie of the Music Business." I'm
Put
not
that in the
kidding.
chat. We'll put that in the chat.
There you go.
Absolutely. Okay, so our next event is going to be our in-person showcase on the 15th. Is that correct? Right? At the Urban Homestead in
Today's the
Pasadena.
first, so 8:15. Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's try to make that if you can. It'll be fun as always. And our next guest speaker is Andy Kahn. Jeff, do you know Andy, or
I don't think so.
you heard of Sixth Man?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Andy is with Sixth Man.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Very successful.
Yeah, so he told me all about what they do, and they do the blues cruise, jazz cruise, all that kind of stuff, and event planning, and basically how to get a gig that pays well is what we're going to be talking about. So it'll be a fun thing, and
Perfect.
he'll be listening to your stuff too, just like everybody else. So that's pretty much it. And thanks again, Jeff. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Having me. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Good
Thanks for
night.
staying late. See you
Thanks.
later.
Thank